which is outgoing, this fifth legislature which is outgoing, it needs handing over notes. We can even move a motion for the incoming sixth legislature to ensure that Gambia has a new constitution. Whether this or a revised version of this, we need it. And I believe this is going to be one of the positive legacies of the current president, that we need a constitution.
Honorable, I don't mind a reference, but really, let's focus on the bill.
It has some correlations, Honorable Speaker. What I'm saying is it has some correlations. Because this constitutional proposal can be accommodated by a new constitution. So for me, I would urge everyone, parliamentarians, civil society, to ensure that Gambia has a new constitution, a more elaborate one than the 1997 constitution. It's good.
All right, but what was probably not quite in order was referring to the draft, the previous draft constitution was what I was just drawing your attention.
No, I said it was an extraction. There's an extraction of it. That's so. Yeah, your point is taken. Okay, the point is taken. So, for me, I am really a proponent of constitutional reform. I am a strong advocate for that. But to say that as chair of the Select Committee on Women, I am in full support of the empowerment of women, whatever form that it takes. There's evidence of our commitment to that as a committee. We have promoted so many bills that are jet towards that direction, and it can be attested to by the Honorable Minister that women should be factored in everything that we do. But I just want to remind everybody that it should not be symbolism. We want to empower them for empowerment's sake, so that they will continue adding value. They have been adding value. It's just not something that is recognized. So it has to be recognized. I think it is towards that direction that constitutional amendments are made to make it obligatory on society to recognize this and then empower them in terms of representation. So on that note, I want to take my seat, Honorable Speaker. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much. Nominated Member Samusa.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for giving me the floor to add my voice to the previous speakers. Honorable Speaker, I first of all thank the Honorable Member for Banjul South for coming up with this bill. As saying goes, nothing is never less than ever. Madam Speaker, definitely I lend my support. I support this bill. Madam Speaker, I witnessed so many, at least 3 generations have been in this National Assembly. The First Republic, Second Republic, Madam Speaker, I have witnessed. And I have witnessed the election since 1962 up to date. I have seen the participation of women in the national development, particularly in the election. I contested in the First Republic, I contested in the Second Republic. And I know the role of women in both in the national development and when you come to the political side. Definitely, we should not allow them to be left behind. And I know since the 1970 Republican Constitution, women has never been left out or neither to be left behind. I remember in 1972, which I can remember, the first woman who contested as an independent candidate countrywide was Yafatu Sonko in 1972 as an independent when Right Honorable Dr. Lamin Saho came here and headed the independent movement. She contested as an independent. She was not elected, then Right Honorable Lamin Kiti Jabang was the member of Combo Central or whatever. Not Combo, it's Combo Central. Combo Central, then Sadauda was the MP for Combo Central. After Sadauda, it's Lamin Kiti Jaba. And whilst he was there in 1972, was opposed by Yafatu Sonko in 1972. As I witnessed that. Honorable Speaker, in 1982, after the abortive coup, the first lady to come to Parliament, elected, was Nima Sarasani Bojang in Commonwealth, which I also witnessed. So women has never been left behind in 1970 Republican Constitution. Never at all. And Madam Speaker, there they formed, the Women Bureau was formed Constitution in 1970 Republican Constitution, the first republic. And some of those, they became a vice president for that matter. They work, how many of them? The Vice President Aishatun Jai Sedi, the Vice President Fatoumata Tambajang, she was there at the Women's Bureau. And even the current Vice President also has taken some experience from Women's Bureau. I have seen a lot of participation of women in the government and in the national development, all these three regions. You come to the Second Republic, Madam Speaker. Women were given how many MPs in the Second Republic? You have the Council of Wuli East. Wuli. Dusa Kamaso. You have the Gengjai of Lower Salum. You have Luntan something Jaju of Foni Perfect. You have Nyang, Joswang, and so on and so on. So I think when people are saying, oh, the women say they are left behind. No, let's just say, understand. Where were those people, Madam Speaker? Where were those women that I mentioned? You see, the problems came when they did not sensitize. They should sensitize the women and also to participate those people. Because it's in the Constitution. They've never been denied, Madam Speaker. But in every fall, there must be people, understand, who are, at least God has given them to lead. And those who lead, the women, those who lead, they should have, they went to the rank of a vice president, Madam Speaker. They should have stand on their leg to advocate and to make sure that, understand, this thing has taken place in the First Republic and the Second Republic. They never. I will quote one of the MP here for Foni Bintang, as he said, which I am a witness for it. When the selection of candidates comes, if women would like to, apply, or if you apply, who are the people who always deny them their fellow women? Otherwise, if they had the support since the First Republic and the Second Republic by their fellow women, Honorable Speaker, by now, this bill would have not come. Because they have the opportunity to become a vice president in the Second Republic. In the Third Republic, they have the opportunity to become a vice president, Madam Speaker. So they should have definitely stand ever since behind their fellow women, 100%. Then this bill today would have not been here. Women would have got their quota. I supported this. In my family, 75% of my family are women, which I always feel proud are more protected. The more women you have in your family as a father, the more you are protected, because they are very sympathetic than men. You young people, you'll come to the age. I know what I'm saying. When I look at them, I know who sympathize with me is women. The more women you have in your family, the more you feel comfortable and protected. They will sympathize you. Even if you are penniless, they will hustle and make sure that even if you want to put on something, you want to dress well, even if you dress, when it's not in order, they will call your attention. So I always feel proud, anything that comes on the side of women, Madam Speaker. So I don't think there should be any much thing, any controversial in this bill, except just let it take its course, the normal procedure. Parliament is a procedure. We all want it, all the parliament, at least if not all, but I'm sure 75% of the assembly here, definitely we are all adhere to this bill. But let it take, it's a process. It's a process. How many bills have, even the mover herself knows how many bills she's been advocating for us to refer the bill. Like, this bill is not an exceptional to that bill. So when it comes, we go through the normal process. That's no problem. The mover has been asking for reference of bills. So I don't think it will be something new to have when it comes to this bill. On that note, Madam Speaker, I beg to move.
Thank you, Honorable Deputy Speaker.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, for giving me the floor. Honorable Speaker, let me use this opportunity to thank the mover of this bill for the good move. Honorable Speaker, let me also say that as a parliament, we should remember that we are dealing with a constitutional amendment bill. The Constitution is the supreme law of the land. And whatever we are doing with the Constitution, we have to be very careful, extremely careful. I remember one of the parliamentarians said in his contribution that 1997 Constitution has suffered 53 amendments by the former Parliament. Notwithstanding, with this fifth legislature, this is the fourth of its kind. But however, we should know that we are dealing with a very important document that is the supreme law of the land, the Constitution, 1997 Constitution, that is guiding this nation to whatever we are doing. Honorable Speaker, with regards to qualification to the membership of the National Assembly, Section 89C indicates the qualification for somebody to become a member of the National Assembly. And Section 101 talked about the introduction of the bill or a motion. A member of parliament, as a private member bill, as we are on now, and of course, other than that, a member of the cabinet can introduce a bill in the parliament. It is this body that are empowered by this constitution to introduce bill in parliament. Madam Speaker, the participation of women in our politics or party politics, Madam Speaker, I think it's a gradual process. It's a gradual process. It cannot be automatic because we as a nation, we have to change our mindset over the issues. Mindset is very important. If a woman is nominated or selected by a political party, if fully endorsed by the women in that particular constituency, she will not have any problem. Automatically, she will win the election. But the mindset has to be changed. If a woman is nominated or selected by a political party, it is the very women themselves that will start to castigate that woman and saying all sorts of bad things about that woman. That makes the women of this country to be afraid to coming into the parliament. Because we have capable women, able women that can represent their constituencies, participated in the debate effectively. But because of these issues, that makes women not to come out and participate in party politics. But as I said, it's a gradual process, Madam Speaker. I think with this coming parliamentary election, we will see the difference. Most women in this country now has this courage, and they are determined to put their applications to their respective political parties for candidature, for the party to select them. So it's a gradual process, but it's a new development, and I think women are coming. Not with nomination, but of course, facing ballot box. This which I believe I should congratulate them, those women who have the courage and foresight to prepare to face the ballot box. Madam Speaker, as I said earlier on, we are not dealing with an ordinary bill. The bill is about constitutional amendment, 1997 Constitution. So anything about the Constitution, which is the supreme law of this land, whatever we want to do, we have to be extremely careful because it's the Constitution of the country. This is the document that is governing the country. So we should have not have this document before us now, if only things were rightly done, as the honorable member for TV&MEDIA mentioned, that of the past draft constitution. But unfortunately, the way it goes, that is history. Madam Speaker, I think it's a good move by the member for Banjul South, but notwithstanding, as I said, I believe we should carefully look at this thing and then refer it to the committee, ABC committee, for committal. That's my contribution. I thank you for giving me the floor.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Honorable Member for Olyundum.
Thank you so much, Honorable Speaker. First, let me also...
Before I give you the floor, please. Larikunda Sabiji, Banjul, Birkama North, Lower Badibu, Central Badibu, Serekunda West, Upper Salum, you are all on the list. So it has to be one after the other. I see you raising your tags persistently, but you'll have your turn. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. First, let me also join my colleagues to thank our honorable colleague and my sister, Honorable Member for Banjul South, for I have to go down. Don't land. Okay. I said I joined my colleague to thank our colleague, Honorable Member for Banjul South, for the laudable initiative introducing this private member bill. And I also want to thank all the donors who supported her in making sure that a bill is drafted for the constitutional amendment 1997. I equally wanted to thank the National Assembly for granting her the opportunity to lay this bill before the August Assembly. Honorable Speaker, as we said, the objections and reasons of the bill is clearly stated, perhaps except for a few observations that we will highlight. But first, we have to appreciate the fact that I think it is high time for our country to give the necessary support that the women deserve in all our decision-making institutions in this country. In politics, everywhere you go, you find women following men in terms of, the support they need to be elected and to represent the people in parliament, at the local government councils, and other areas in government appointed positions. So it's also important for us to give them that opportunity if an amendment comes before us to pass so that they can have their fair share in the development of the country. Personally, I supported the bill, and I think I have been working with women as a social worker. That has been my profession over the years. I am in full support of the bill. But then, with few reservations that we also wanted to highlight, perhaps that might, like my colleague said. First, with your indulgence, Madam Speaker, I just wanted to read, the bill seeks to impose an obligation on political parties to promote gender equity. In my view, I think this bill does not empower the Independent Electoral Commission from what I am reading. If you look at the section 60A, which is also very clear, promotion of gender equity and respect for human rights, and it says every political party shall promote gender equity in selecting candidates for elections. That is shall, but empowering the IEC to ensure that if any political party does not apply or comply to the rules of the selection to be able to get the percentage that they want, IEC would not have the right to reject that political party because they did not empower them to do so. And I think that has to be included in the bill. For me, I think that is a gap. We also wanted to talk about the stipulated procedure does not highlight, or the process in electing the candidate from the regional base. From my observation, I think it is talking about two candidates from the region. That is, when they go into elections, the one who took first and second will be represented in parliament, and probably they might not come from the same political party. But that has not also been indicated in the bill for us to understand the process and how are they going to be elected. It is also important that we consider the National Assembly. It is only the National Assembly that is mentioned in the bill. When we talk about women representation, we should also consider other bodies, let's say the local government. When we came in 2017, the first bill we amended in Parliament was the Section 91(1)D. I mean, we saved our heads from being expelled from our parties and lost our seats. From some time, another member came and then also brought a bill for the local government. So I think it will be important for us to include the local government election, this 30%, so that at the local government level, they can also be represented from that end. Because if you look at it from the region, if you have to from the region, how would you elect other members to go to the local government? That is also a gap that we need to look at. I think the mover will have to consider that. It is only proper for us to do things together so that, you know, we don't do it separately in the future. Honorable Speaker, the responsibility of the regional MPs is also something that we are considering. If you look at KMC, for example, where you have 12 constituencies, I am struggling with my constituency of 50,000 votes. So if you say a woman should take care of 6 constituencies in West Coast, that is huge. I don't think they can meet that. And if they do, people are going to elect them. How would they have their re-election even if they want to come back to Parliament? Because you do not have that base with the people. You cannot reach out to every constituency in that region. So probably in the future that will bring problem for those representatives to be re-elected, which is also very key. I have an observation, and I think it's important for us to consider. Since we are dealing with the objection reasons of the bill, the principles and merits, but it's also important to observe certain things. That is to say, IEC intend to demarcate constituencies. And if they do so, it means we will still have an increased number of parliamentarians added to what is currently on the bill. I just wanted to suggest, if those constituencies are going to be demarcated, like mine, where they said they're going to demarcate it into 3, is it not proper for us to have constituencies where political parties will have female candidates only to contest so that we can have the number that we want? Because for me, the interest is not the region. The interest is for us to have a percentage to represent women in all decision-making bodies. That is the interest. So on these constituencies will go on rotational basis after every 2 terms. That is something that we can think of so that their responsibility will be directly to their electorates than a whole region. That is too big for me. And I just wanted to make those observations because if you look at other countries, that is exactly what they are doing. For the region, as far as I am concerned, I think it's too big for a woman to take responsibility of a region, to represent about 6 constituencies or even 3 or 4. All of us here are struggling with one constituency of about, the number of voters we have in our constituencies. So I think the movers should look into that. If the bill is taken to the relevant committees, they will look into that perhaps so that those amendments can come in. Honorable Speaker. Apart from that, I totally support the initiative, and I just wanted to lend my support. Anytime I am here, this bill comes before me, I am going to support it for us to have the 30% that the women deserve in all decision-making bodies in our country. On that note, Honorable Speaker, I beg to take my seat. Thank you.
Thank you. Latir Kunda Sabiji.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for giving me the floor. Let me also join my colleague to thank the mover of the motion. That's Honorable Member from Banjul South. Honorable Speaker, looking at this bill, I think it's very straightforward what the member wants, the mover of the motion. Said, if you look at the objects and the reason, he said this bill seeks to amend the Constitution of the Republic of the Gambia 1997 by enlarging the composition of the National Assembly and providing for the reservations of a specific seat for women and children with disabilities. I think this is very simple and straightforward. But what I want to ask the Honorable Member is the modalities that they wanted to use in order to have the 16 extra seats in the Parliament. 14 plus 2, that's 16. The total is 16. That's what they're looking for. And then also, Honorable Speaker, what I observe from this bill is the timing of the bill. the timing of the bill, I don't think this is the right time to me. Honorable Speaker, one thing we need to understand, if you really want to empower the women, you know where it starts from? It starts from the grassroots. This is where you start to empower them. Yes, by saying that let us add 14 seats for the women or 16 seats for the women in the parliament here, is that really enough to empower our women in this country? Let's ask ourselves, is that really enough? Let's imagine the enrollment level of women in our schools, from primary school, junior secondary school to high school. How much it is? We have more enrollment in the women's sector than men in this country now, as we stand. But how many of them will go up to the university level? How did we create that environment where all women will go from primary school right down to university without paying a dime? I think this should have been our first step in empowering the women. We have lady councillors all over. Almost every constituency of this country have a lady councillor that's representing them. Are they really empowered? Let's ask ourselves. You know, let's stop saying that, yes, all political parties have a women mobilizers here and there. Yes, we know they all have a women mobilizers. You know, as a National Assembly members, you are judged by what you did for your people for the past 5 years. Not by standing here today and say that I'm supporting this, I'm not supporting this, then people will vote for me. No, that is wrong. Let us be bold enough and then advise each other the truth. We have served this parliament for 5 good years. What is the budget allocated to Minister of Women, Children and Social Gender, Children and Social Welfare? Did we give them enough to empower them? Let's ask ourselves. Our local governments, did we empower them enough for them also to empower our women? Honorable Speaker, Honorable Sekumaro will always support a women empowerment in this country, through bills or whatsoever, when they are progressive. Honorable Speaker, I have a wife. I have 3 kids. 2 of my kids are women. They are girls. 2 of my children are girls. So you want to tell me that Honorable Sekumaro don't want a future for those 2 kids? No, that is out of it. But what I am saying, that small girl, what can we do to empower her from primary school right down to university? I think this is what we should be talking about today. That is it. Let's talk about that. And also when we're talking about, you know, we need to have people that should be nominated, like the 2 nominations. I have traveled to China. What they are doing is that every cooperative society, for instance, the Farmers Association will have a representative in parliament. The Women Association will have a representative in parliament. The disabled will have a representative in parliament. The fishermen will have a representative in the parliament. The business community will have a representative in parliament. In that way, the problem that we are having right now, you know, we will easily have a solution to it. And then Gambia Teachers Union also have a representative that will be here. It's not Honorable, like say, Honorable Sekuba Joaju, who is a runaway teacher. Honorable Busumbala, who is a runaway teacher. And then we think that he's a teacher, so when he's here, he will represent the teacher. No, he's not. So I think, Honorable Speaker, when we are talking about development, let us be serious about the type of development that we want. Let us just do it like bottom-top approach, but not top-bottom approach. Whenever we do that one, we're going to have a problem at the end of the day. Honorable Speaker, for that being the case, I am urging this August Assembly to refer this bill. I am not rejecting the bill, because a women empowerment, I will always support it. But let's refer this to a committee. Let us go and do a further consultation from KMC right down to URR. Let it be all-inclusive, Honorable Speaker. That is important. You know, we cannot be making a bill at the end of the day, you know, you have a woman, 2 women representing Latrikunda Sabiji, you say you are representing someone who is living in Basi. And you hardly even go to Basi to represent them. How do you know their problems at the end of the day? How? So let's refer this bill to a committee and we open for a further consultation. In that way, people will come over and then add a volume, add something to this. And it will make it a better bill. Honorable Speaker, Honorable Member for Banjul South did extremely well. But also, you look around. We have women here, Honorable Member of Busumbala have said it. Some of them here don't even understand what I am saying. And yet still, you say, let us have a bill to empower these women here, when they don't even know what we are saying here. You know, everything has to start from somewhere. If you want to have a proper development, a good development, it has to start from somewhere. You look here, the vice president of this country is a woman. Where is she? She is absent. The Minister of Basic and Secondary Education, Minister of Agriculture. I expect all of them to be here. This is a very, very important bill.
Observe, please.
Yes.
No, let's observe.
Madam Speaker, you see, the issue of language is not peculiar to women. It is a language, it is a problem for everybody in this country. So don't make it a woman's problem. It is not, it is our problem. Men, in fact, more than even women. So please.
Thank you, retired Honorable Wuli Wesa. Right, Honorable Wuli Wesa. Okay, thank you. Okay. Honorable Speaker, I support this bill. But I have on my observation, as I have said it, I prefer this August Assembly to refer this to a committee to open up a further consultations with the women folk, even with the men as well. Even our committee, the Committee on Health, Women, Children, and Social Welfare, we have a committee here that's responsible. Because the reason why I say this, though it's a private member bill, but this is a very important bill. Someone says that it's not just a mere bill. It is a bill, but it's very important because it is here to address something. So on that, Honorable Speaker, I'm urging this August Assembly to please refer this to the committee so that they can also further refer it to the appropriate committee for consultation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member for Lower Badibu.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, for giving me the floor. Honorable Speaker, I want to refer this House to the Constitution, Section 101, Subsection 1, which says, introduction of bills and motions. Subject to the provision of this section, a bill or motion may be introduced in the National Assembly by a member of the Cabinet or by a member of the National Assembly, and the National Assembly shall give consideration to the bills and motions so introduced. Honorable Speaker, what I just want to address here is there is no time frame or there is no time that one may say this is the particular time period that this particular bill should come to this Parliament. If you are in for the bill, this is democracy. You are at liberty to support the bill. If you are not, you have that right too. Honorable Speaker, I want to register that I am in support of this bill full time, and I have reasons for supporting this bill, because we all know the realities of our society. Even those who are talking here, if their daughter wanted to contest as a candidate, they themselves will go and discourage her. So what are they saying? Honorable Speaker, I for one, I will say this bill is very timely, and I will thank the member for Banjul South for coming up with this initiative. Honorable Speaker, if you look at it, we have a constitution as a country, and having that constitution doesn't deter us from having other acts. We have many acts. This Parliament has enacted many bills here, an act. But despite that, having a constitutional amendment also to cater for the 14th seat for women is not a bad thing. For me, I think this is in line with good governance. This is in line with democracy, and we should advocate for this. It is true that women themselves, they also have their own problem. We have to say this in their faces. That's the fact. When you have a woman candidate here, and you have a female male candidate, they themselves will vote for that male than the female. I don't know what is the problem, but I think we should go back and sensitize each other about this. They themselves have a problem, and we have to tell this problem to the women for them to understand this. Honorable Speaker, when you talk about empowerment, my friend, the member for Latrikunda, said something here which is very true. Let's examine ourselves. How much did we cater in the budget for the Ministry of Women Affairs? How much compared to other ministries? Are we ready as a nation to empower our women? My question is no. That's the answer to my question. We are not ready. We are just talking about women empowerment. Each of the National Assembly members here, those who wanted to contest again, all what they wrote on their flyers is that children and women empowerment. But that's not the reality. It is not in you. It is not in you. So, whom are you empowering? Whom are you empowering? So I believe we should thank the member for Banjul South for coming up with this initiative once again. Honorable Speaker, I am in support of this bill, 100%, and I will give my blessing to it at any given time. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Honorable Member for Opasalum.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. And thank you very much, the member for Banjul South, for bringing in such an important bill in the life of this legislature. Honorable Speaker, having listened to some of our colleagues and also what is before us today, that is this constitutional amendment bill. I think it's very important for us to try to separate two things. This bill is not about a discriminatory laws or trying to fix something that's discriminatory in itself. What it intends to do is to bring equity, and we need to understand that. If you look at globally what is actually happening, that's in the executive, in the parliaments, and also in the judiciary, the participation of women, and that's what it actually intends to fix, the participation of women in our politics. Now, I know we've received a lot of calls, a lot of messages about this is discrimination, because they're saying that this particular bill is discriminatory in its form, which I tend to differ. Because if you're going to talk about discrimination in our own laws of the Gambia here, which is the 1997 Constitution, it's saying for you to vote, you must be 18 years, right? And for you to be in this parliament, how old do you have to be? 21. Who says that somebody who's 21 years old can do better than somebody that's 18 years old? What research actually has shown that? So if we are talking about discrimination in the first place, let's look at actually what actually has preceded over this first. If you go to voting for the president itself, you have 18 years to vote, but to be the president of this country, you have to be at least 30 years. And we are saying that is okay. There's no discrimination in that. Then we continue further. Since independence in this country here, all the government schools, government offices, how easy is it for somebody who is physically challenged to have access to those offices? But we are okay with that. No discrimination. Let's call a spade a spade. If we are going to talk about discrimination, there are other issues that we actually have within us that we can point out and say, this is discriminatory. not this particular one. What this intends to do is to help bring equity in our parliaments, in our national parliaments. That's all it actually intends to do. Honorable Speaker, I can go back to just give a brief historical perspective across the world. That is women in the executive government. Research actually has shown, as of last year, September, that there are 26 women serving heads of state and or government in 24 countries. But just 10 countries actually have a woman head of state and 13 countries have a woman head of government. That is the executive. Then if you go to the national parliaments, only 25% of national parliaments actually have women, up from 11%. That is in 1995. Women actually has improved from 11 to 25 in 1995. But a further 19 countries actually have reached or surpassed the 40% mark in the parliaments. But the biggest revelation is how were they able to get that? So more than 2/3 of these countries actually have applied gender quotas to be able to achieve this, which means 2/3 of those countries that actually have achieved 40% or more representation in parliament have done that through women quotas. So this is not a mistake. If we're really serious in bringing political parity or representation in this parliament, I think this is a step in the right direction. Honorable Speaker, if you look at our own parliament here, or may I start from the executive of the government of the Gambia? We've created the Ministry of Gender, Women, Children, etc. Then you look at the representative of the women in terms of the cabinet. You are talking about close to 16% almost. You go to the judiciary, they are way more than the executive and also the parliament. Now, in the Gambian parliament here, the percentage of women in the Gambian national parliament is about 10 to 11%. And if you remove the nominated members by the president, that is 3 of them, what we have is 6%. That's it. So, if the president did not nominate those women to be in the parliament here, we will be among the world's worst representative of women in this parliament. That's going to be only 6%. And the intent of this bill is to help remedy that situation. What we are trying to do is to bring equilibrium. You know what's happening is, if you look at the parliament, few women are on this side here. And then what we are trying to do is, how can we pull this one so that we can bring a balance or bring equilibrium? Because for me, I believe there is nobody who can understand themselves more than themselves. I believe that. So if you really want the women or the persons living with disability, for them to be on the table, you see, there cannot be a menu on the table. They must be on the table and look at the menu, choose what is best for themselves, and then we can move forward as a country. So what we are trying to advocate for is not to discriminate against anybody. And we know that the laws of the Gambia doesn't ban anybody from participating. We know that. But in reality, we know actually what actually happens in the political field. We know that. It's a fact. But we believe this is a good step to start, to see where we can get women and persons living with disability to be in this parliament, to be able to represent themselves better, because they understand themselves better than we do. Now, if you look at the Gambian context here, on this particular bill here, the electoral process throughout, from registration, voter mobilization, from campaigning, from voting, in all aspects of the process, we have women at the forefront. But when it comes in terms of choosing who's going to represent, they are at the back. And that's exactly what this bill intends to fix. And again, we must also remember about about the Sustainable Development Goal, goal number 16, which advocates for inclusive societies. And Gambia is part of that. The Sustainable Development Goal number 16 advocates for inclusive societies. So I think this is a right step to ensure that we have an inclusive society in this country. Nothing to do with discrimination. You know, it's very interesting when people try to compare this with what was in the draft constitution. It's not actually even the same. There were several reasons why the draft was rejected, but that was history. So we don't need to revisit history. So what is on here and what is in the draft are not the same. So that was history. So let's move on to something else. Now, in terms of the other members actually mentioning like the amount of money we have allocated to the Ministry of Gender. Do we allocate budgets, or is that the responsibility of the executive? We don't do that. It's the executive that decides, or from the Minister of Finance to the President, and they agree at the cabinet level what each ministry actually is supposed to have. The only thing we are doing as a parliament is to scrutinize and then approve. So this came from them. The president and the executive, that's what they wanted for the ministry to have a particular amount of money. And they came over here, we did not even cut a penny. So if anybody is to be blamed about what is actually assigned or allocated to the particular ministry, it cannot be this parliament. It must be at the executive level because that is their responsibility. Our own responsibility as far as the budget is concerned, we have done very well, which is to scrutinize and then approve, and where we think there could be wastage, we remove. And I think we have done that very clearly. So, Honorable Speaker, I think it's quite important that we look at this very carefully. Because members actually have spoken about education. And I think that's really very interesting. Because we are standing here speaking English language, which is actually foreign to us here. The people that are in Upper Salem, most of them will not understand actually what I'm talking about here. And they are the ones that asked me to come here and represent them. And yet still, I'm here talking, and most of them do not understand what I'm just saying. And I think, again, when you talk about discrimination, if that is not discrimination, I don't know what else is it going to be. Because you are here taking somebody's language, foreign, here, and he said, okay, I'm going to do my business, I'm going to communicate in parliament, I'm going to communicate in the executive, everything English. And we leave the Wolofs, we leave the Mandinkas, we leave the Jolas and stuff like that, and they have a better understanding if we are able to speak that language in this parliament here. But yet still, we say, it's okay. So I think it's about time we look at things in perspective, and to ensure that we understand that there is nothing that is discriminatory in this bill. The only thing we are trying to do is to have equity. That is to bring them so that they can represent themselves, so that there will not be a menu, but there will be somebody that sits on the table to agree on the way forward in this particular country. Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member for Brikama North.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. I also like to join my colleagues to thank the Honorable Member for Banjul South for coming with this bill meant to empower the women, to encourage, not to increase their participation politically in terms of representation. Madam Speaker, as rightly recalled in the object and reason, that the bill is seek to enlarge the composition of the membership of the National Assembly by doing that to reserve seats for the women and of the disabled people. Madam Speaker, as earlier on mentioned by Honorable Member for Serekunda, earlier on we passed the Women Bill amendment that has paved way for women representation to be expanded or crafted in political party structures in a way that can also earmark for this very important objective of the bill. However, we are still struggling to implement and achieve that objective. I will take my party as an example. we crafted our constitution in a way automatically in the national executive of the party. 8 are automatic members by virtue of positions of the structure of the women's wing, where 4 represent them in the national executive, and in the youth wing, 4 represent the female wing in the national executive. They are also encouraged to vie for certain positions, and through that, we are able to realize the 30% representation in the national executive. In terms of representation in the National Assembly, this is far from being realized, in the sense that, if I may take the current statistics on interest to vie for position in the National Assembly, 87, so interest for party selection, out of which only 6 are female. And out of the 6, 4 confirmed and 2 are yet to be confirmed. That will represent roughly 6% of the total number that show interest. A bill of this nature, I think, will come to help in trying to narrow that gap and do the encouragement for the women participation or representation in the National Assembly to be increased as the objects call for. Madam Speaker, however, the objects and reasons stated, this is also part of the proposal in the draft constitution. One will say the draft constitution, I will not call that put in the dustbin per se, is now subject to piecemeal introduction. I welcome the move when the President in his inaugural speech made a commitment for the reintroduction of the draft constitution. And obviously, this part of the draft constitution, I want to believe, would be honored any time to be laid before the Assembly for consideration. Madam Speaker, the amendment has inserted a particular clause, that is the Section 88 amended, and then 1A inserted 4 subsections. The initial sections under 88A and B, it appears both are amended. The aspect of B, that was previously 5 nominations by the President, reduced to 2 nominations by the President. The principle of the draft constitution is in a way that has done away with the amendments by the President. It is of interest to see this one that strives to make reference to the draft constitution entertaining the introduction of the amendment by the President. Technically, it appears to be the situation where, if not considered, we may find ourselves in, taking into consideration Section 93(1) that calls for the appointment of the Speaker and the Deputy Speaker from the nominated members. And I would like the Honorable Mover of the motion to dilate on that, the rationale of introducing that amendment, nomination of the nominated members by the President in this bill. Is it to address the issue of Section 93(1) of the Constitution regarding the appointment of the Speaker and the Deputy Speaker? Furthermore, Madam Speaker, the reservation of 14 seats for women in the National Assembly, I would also like the mover of the motion to dilate on the modality of that election, whether it's going to be partisan or it will be women representation, like the case of the disabled people. If it's either way, partisan will serve the purpose. Two women representing the women folks in a particular region, for example, Birkama, where would be the limitation of each of the representatives? Would it call it one for Fonyi and one for Kombo? Or they will have no boundary as long as they are representing the region, they can crisscross. How do we ease the work of those representatives? If it should be the other way, they will be elected by the institution of the women. It could be the Women Council. Will there not be that political undertone and connotation in terms of executing their functions?
Can I make an observation?
Noted. Noted.
Yes, I want the member to focus on 93(1), Honorable Speaker, because 93(1) is that the Speaker of the National Assembly and the Deputy Speaker shall be elected by the members, not appointed by the President, shall be elected by the members of the Assembly from among the nominated members. So if you have only 2 nominated members, they are actually appointed by the President. So it's an area we need to look into.
Yes, I understand what I'm trying to say. Reference was made for the draft constitution, where part of the bill is extracted from the draft constitution. In the same spirit, let's focus on that principle and then try to continue with the draft constitution. I was trying to say that the draft constitution is silence on the nomination, but this one is entertained. And that's why I said, is it try to capture or address Section 93? So that's why I call her to do the clarification. But in principle, I would like to do away with the aspect of nomination. That's my take. When is election by the institution of the women folks, to say maybe the Women Council, practically the situation confronting the Women Council, or that they put themselves to, since the first regime, second regime, and the third regime, in state of non-partisan it is turned to be a political group. For any ruling party, if at all it's supposed to be the responsibility of that institution to do that, it's merely going to reduce to that, only to increase the representation of that particular ruling party, not to say the women folks. You look at, I'm not sure whether they are here, but I'm happy they should, I should be happy that they are here. Our lady councillors, instead of representing their women in their communities' interests or participating for them, they are more of women political mobilizers than the councillors of the women. So that's why my fear would be, if it should be that institution, it is going to be reduced to as how the lady councillors are reduced to. What would be the modality of that election? Generally, is it going to be every electorate in the region that should be responsible for electing the women representation? Men comes in. What say do we have in electing women to represent women? Are they represented men? Look at that and then try to explain a concern for the modality of electing the 14 representatives. Madam Speaker, these are the few concerns I have. Like my colleagues, I support the move to empower women. And I will also support women to focus on empowering women, but not women to reduce themselves. Instead of focusing themselves on empowering women, they will allow the ruling party to use them for their political gains. That one, I will not support women in that light of empowerment. I thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member for Central Badibu. No, please. Central Badibu, is it? Yes, thank you.
Honorable Speaker, thank you very much. And I would like to thank the Honorable Member of Banjul South for leading this important crusade. Honorable Speaker, today is another important day in the life of this Parliament to look at a bill that seeks to address gender imbalances, a bill to promote the welfare of our vulnerable group, a bill that's going to promote political participation in our country called Gambia. Honorable Speaker, the object and the reason of this bill is self-explanatory, and I don't think there is much difficulty to understand the object and the reason of this bill. And I don't think the bill is here to satisfy only one political party or one political head, but the bill is here to satisfy the nation. We are building a nation. And in building the nation, you need strong laws that's going to promote equality or equity. Honorable Speaker, our mothers suffered a lot in terms of decision making in the history. Culturally, we believe that men should be in charge. And we have all seen all the political activities that are taking place. Who cook for us? Women. Who clap for us? Women. Who dance for us? Women. Who take the lead? Women. So, to me, the bill feels that there is somewhere where there is a gap. The bill is not about a competition. It's not about who brought the bill here. It's about the people that we are representing. And I believe by looking at it, we can propose amendment to certain things that we are not comfortable with. But I believe the bill is in fact late. Hadn't been the constitution, the draft constitution passed or passes through here, we will not talk about this bill. But now we feel that this vulnerable group need to be considered. And, we are not saying that we are going to nominate 14 or 16 people. It's about election. It's about election. And if you are elected into the position, you abuse it, you will meet your people when you go for the second time. So if you want, misrepresent your people if you have an opportunity. But one day you will be accountable to them. We will not advise anybody to do that. You know what is good for you and what is bad for you. So I think the purpose here is we look at how are we going to conduct these elections. Are they going to be party ticket? Are they going to be what? We need the mover of the motion or the honorable member of Banjul South need to explain to us so that we will be cleared out. But we have to be very mindful of the rumor that circulates us. We are entrusted with a responsibility to steer the wheel of this development. I'm not going to be part of people who are not ready to make history for this country, who are not ready to champion the cause of women in this country. I'm not going to be part of that history. I want my last daughter, not my last daughter per se, but the last child that I have now, Satu, to remember me, to be part of this history, to make a law for women who will participate in our democracy. If I fail to give my blessing to it, Satu will one day hold me by a neck, and history will never forgive me. So, honorable members, let's look at the first page of the bill, the short title and the commencement. Whether is it possible to have it in 2022? That's a point that we need to look at. You understand? Whether all that we want to see, whether is it possible for these women to participate in the forthcoming election? If it is not possible, then there is need for an amendment. Honorable Speaker, looking at the nomination. Nomination is not bad in the case of Honorable Nde Yasin Seka, in the case of Honorable Mariam Jack Dendi, but to some people it's worse. It's killing our progress. Some people are wrongly nominated. So nomination, to me, needs to be looked at.
To avoid names.
Thank you. Honorable Speaker, nomination needs to be looked at. I'm putting to the honorable members to look at this part of the bill to do away with nomination, if it is possible, for the progress of this parliament and the entire country. Honorable Speaker, coming to the statistics of women in other parliaments in the world. For example, India, currently, you have 224 women representation in their parliament. Coming to Uganda, women hold 46% of local government, 33% of the parliamentary seat, and 43% of the cabinet. You go to Kenya, 75 women, almost 21% in their parliament. I think this is a way of trying to see that we also have more women representation in the parliament. Besides, it's more of an affirmative action that we are going to make. With time, if we feel that, or the people who are coming after us feel that women are more empowered, now we have more representation, they can change the law. They have the right to make any changes that they want. Because if you look at the development of women, first we heard of women in development, women and development. And now we have gender and development. So the world is moving. If the world moves, Gambia need to move. So, Honorable Speaker, I don't think we have a difficult task ahead of us. But we need to look at it to structure it in a way that its implementation will not be a problem. I thank the honorable member for taking the giant step, the courage, with the support of all the members of this House, particularly the Health Committee and the Women Caucus. I happen to be in the Women Health Committee, and as the chair alluded, we need to give our blessing to it, because this was what we have been yearning for, championing for. And Women Caucus, I happen to be a part of it. We are the speaker, is the chair. We have been talking about this 2 years ago. So if it comes now, I think all your concerns are well noted. We have to look at it to see how best it could be implemented. But let us not try to promote misinformation about the bill. Misinformation is a cankerworm that is killing our society. Thank you.
Serekunda West.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. I would begin my intervention by commending our dear colleague for bringing this bill. I have a few questions for the mover to give me some clarifications. And the first question is, they're asking for representation that is 2 per region. And always what comes to my mind is, you know, these regions have constituencies. If you take KM region, for example, there are 7 constituencies. Now, if 2 are to be elected from that region, what is their constituency? And how is the work of those 2 be related to the 7 elected members of the parliament? So for me, that's a kind of duplication. And also, I also want to be informed as to how are they going to be elected? Like some members alluded to. Is it going to be on independent ticket, or are they going to be elected on partisan tickets? I think what should have been done is this bill should be referred to the ABC so that it is committed to a relevant committee to properly look and scrutinize the bill. We are making a law, and we shouldn't just rush over. In fact, left to me alone, there is no need to rush. We are almost at the end of this 5th legislature. This could have waited until the 6th legislature, but there is no harm in bringing it, at least since, as some of my colleagues said, it will be a credit to this August Assembly to have at least 3 private member bills presented before us. And I agree to some of my colleagues who said we already have an act that is giving the women folk 30%. So why this one? Again, there's another duplication. Where I will conclude is, I don't think there is a need for us to waste our resources and our energy. Since the president of this republic, after his victory, said he is going to bring back the draft constitution that was thrown away. And this particular thing that we are yearning for is already in that draft constitution. If he will keep that promise, then there is no reason for us to rush over this. We wait for him to bring the constitution back in the next legislature, and then our women folk will be happy. We can't hate ourselves. Women are part and parcel of us. We are part and parcel of them. So we can't hate ourselves. Nobody would say no to this. But it's already there in the Women's Act, in the draft constitution. So we have all goodwill gesture to our women folk. I would recommend that this bill is referred to the ABC for committal to a relevant committee. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Honorable members, that was all I had on my list. I stand to be corrected. Did I omit anybody? Any honorable member? No? Okay. Thank you very much. May I now call on the honorable member for Banjul South, who's the mover, to respond to the issues that have been raised by honorable members and to wind up the debate. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. But first of all, I would like to thank my honorable colleagues for getting involved in this debate. Because without your involvement, we wouldn't be able to improve on this bill. It is quite refreshing, I would say, to come up with something and have your honorable colleagues participate in making sure that it comes out the best. So I thank you. I think I can't see the honorable minister because she was here also. I would also like to thank her for making sure that he came to witness something that relates to her ministry. And also not forgetting the executive, because it is in this government that we saw the first ministry of gender. It has always been under the office of the vice president, and at times we would see a vice president, a male vice president, and we wouldn't want to see our minister, our gender minister, being a male. So we also thank the government, the executive. Thank you. I would now go to answer to the concerns made by my honorable colleagues. And if I should leave out anything, it would be my fault, because I think no man is perfect. We have a total of 28 members participate in this debate. The first member who seconded the motion, Le Yasin, gave her blessing. She did not only give her blessing, she participated in the whole process, from the concept to the validation, to the consultations, to the first reading, and now to its second stage. Thank you, my honorable colleague. Honorable member for Lower Salum did mention about the timing of the bill and the effects it would have in these coming elections. If we go back to our Constitution, and if we also look at our guide in this August Assembly, which is the standing orders, there is no such thing as timing, when to present a bill and when not to present a bill. But we have processes that we go through for bills to pass, and I assume that all honorable members know and understand the processes to pass a bill. We are in the second stage, which asks for us to talk about the principles and the objects of this bill, which we have done. And to my honest opinion, we have done justice to that. But I should also bring to the attention of the honorable member that this bill, even if it comes into law, might not take effect in this coming April elections, because there are reservations in our Constitution which states that nothing can come into effect within the 6 months, less than 6 months of it being amended. So, elections. So I would confirm to him that it might not, but that also depends on this August Assembly, because we can come with reservations like Honorable Member for Woolly West, Woolly East mentioned in his contributions. He also mentioned about the demarcation of constituencies and how this will affect the bill. We already have 53 constituencies, and it is not going to touch those constituencies. As it clearly states, it will be by region. 2 persons, 14 women, 2 elected from each administrative area. And that is clearly stated. Those administrative areas are already within our laws. We already have them. So there would be no need for further demarcations of any of our constituencies, which we already have. And I'll thank that member for bringing up that question, because it needs clarification. Everybody was concerned about it having effect in these April elections, also considering that it would have incurred cost and budgets have already been passed. So be rest assured, Honorable Member, that it will not take effect. Honorable Member for Banjul Central mentioned quota systems as they occur in other countries. And I would appeal to this August Assembly to consider that countries with quotas have more female representation, and hence their development are more advanced. Senegal, for example, they have affirmative action, and they have 44% of female representation in their parliament, and we have seen their level of development. Considering the female participation. Also, some members did mention the use of local languages. In Senegal, they also use their local language, but it is up to us to introduce that in that parliament. We are talking about female representation. We are not talking about language. I am interested in seeing more women in this parliament. Hence, I came up with this amendment. We can all work together and come up with something, a bill that would introduce local languages in this assembly. And that would be more, for me, I would support it, because my level of English is not up to standards. If I were to speak Fulani or Wolof or Mandinka, probably I would have been able to express myself much more, and probably more people would understand what I'm saying. So it is not something that cannot be done. Woolly West made emphasis on the difficulties women face in participating. He emphasized what we all know in the Constitution, the equality. That is clearly given. But then equality and equity are completely different. I am me. If we go anywhere in the market, we are all Gambians. But our pockets might be different. That is where equity comes in. I might have $10 as compared to your $40. So when we go to the market, you have more bargaining powers than I do. And that is where we are coming in. We are not saying that we are not equal. Of course, we are all equal in the eyes of the law. But we need to look at the equity, and there is need for us to address this to ensure that the equity gap, it cannot be closed, of course, but it is reduced, and that is where we are coming from. And like he said, women are more prominent in politics and even outside of politics. There is no politics in the market, but you find more women selling in the market. And like he said, we need to include them in society because it is fundamental for change. If they are not included, our process of change will be very slow. Thank you very much, Honorable for Woolly West. And he also made mention about how it is actually going to happen. Electoral laws are electoral laws. Our Constitution gives us the qualification of members, but it doesn't state how and who is going to apply. I came here under the ticket of a political party. These coming elections, I'm going under an independent ticket, and nobody is stopping me. It is clearly stated, this is what you need. So if we say that elections are through regions, it doesn't matter whether you are a market woman, whether you are a director, or whether you are from a political party, or whether you are a school teacher. As long as you qualify under the laws of the Gambia, irrespective of how you can apply to contest under the region to be included in those 14 women. So that's how they are going to be elected. We cannot clearly define that because how members are elected are not clearly defined in the Constitution. We just follow how the 53 members are elected and follow suit.
Of clarification, Madam.
Member for Talinding, also, thank you very much for supporting the bill. Jara East also. Busumbala made inquiries as to whether proper consultation was done. We started this in November of 2020. We are now in 2022. It was presented to the National Assembly, I think in April, in May, June of 2021. So we did take our time. We consulted one of the best female lawyers in this Gambia to be our consultant. And we worked with her night and day. We also engaged the draft constitution, which we all know had some limitations, but also had some good reservations for women. So that is why I quoted the draft constitution in this bill, because it was thoroughly consulted, and we also looked at best practices in this region, not only in the region, but in the world, with the best female lawyer that one of the best that we have in this country. And she was around, actually. Maybe she's stepped out, but we should also thank her for the time she's given us. And also, Busumbala mentioned social awareness of the people. If you look around the assembly today, you will see people from across the Gambia. So that showed that proper consultation, sensitization, awareness was done to bring people. Even during the first reading, you saw people coming from across the nation. So consultation was done. And be rest assured, once the honorable members of this August Assembly are kind enough to pass this bill, that is when the work will start, because you will see more than 14 women in this assembly, because 14 is just to reserve, but that is not stopping them from fighting with us for these 53 seats. But pass this bill, and your seat will be easier for you to win. Rather than for them coming for your seats, they will go for the 14, and you will have a safe way back to your seats. So I think, yes. So Bakau, yes. Bakau mentioned contradictions. Where's Bakau? So contradiction, I looked at this. I think the objects and reasons are very clear. So if you can pinpoint the contradictions to me, I'll be very happy to confirm to you that there are no contradictions. So if you can send them to me by note, I'll be happy to confirm. Because it says extra, and extra means additional. Extra 14, 2 from each region, and 2 for the physically challenged. So that is plain and simple, and I don't see any contradiction to that, honorable member. And Sami, yes, it's true, there is no discrimination, and again, there is no wrong timing in Parliament. We have, actually, we have limited time, so we must make good use of the little time that we have. I would have expected you to say, let us rush and pass this today so that we'll all go home, get hugs from our daughters, get hugs from our wives, and move on. But timing, there is no such thing. Even in our Constitution, there is no such thing as timing. Thank you very much. Jara East also timing and consultation. Again, same, we've done the consultation. And yes, we have done the consultation. And you mentioned the provisions was taken from the draft constitution. We took the concept from the draft constitution. Nothing can be new because the world has been in evolution. We recycle, we redraft, but we do that to improve. There is no such thing that we can bring brand new after being in existence for 57 years tomorrow. So we have lived it, we have seen it. What we are trying to do is to improve, but we cannot bring anything new. And you also posed a question, Jara East, as to whether this is to empower the elite. The section of the Constitution that says that members can contest from each constituency, does that say elite? I don't see any elite here. I see colleagues, I see Gambians. We are all Gambians. We are all Gambians. Honorable Speaker, in Gambia, there is no such thing as class in our Constitution. We are all equal. And like some members were emphasizing, they were emphasizing on the equality. So I think that mention of elite or class might have just been an opinion. So I would just ignore that. And also, the election laws, he also mentioned, this has got nothing. It's not going to change the election laws. Be rest assured of that. The election laws, the normal process will be followed as it is done in our normal constituency elections. So again, it is not going to change it. We are only emphasizing on the increment of these specific seats, adding 14, 2 from each region, and 2 additional for the physically challenged, but it is not changing anything apart from adding those 16. And if we agree adding 2 nominated members, but I can see it has been contentious about the nominated members. So if we go to the consideration stage, which I am appealing honorable members to pass through this process, take it to the consideration stage, we can drop the 2 nominated members. I'll be happy to let go of that. Serekunda's deliberations on law and the addition of value to our society is applaudable. Any law that leaves behind, especially the majority of its population, is not adding value. So thank you very much for bringing that to our attention, and we will make sure that when we make laws not in vacuum, but we make laws to close vacuum. And also, you did mention the Women's Act, but I would also want to bring to the attention of this August Assembly that even though there's the Women's Act, it would not be implementable if this is not in our Constitution, because you cannot force somebody to bring in you cannot force this assembly for a female to win if they contest with men and the men have the upper power. It says present. It doesn't say you must win. But this one is guaranteed because it is specifically for women. So it will be occupied by female. Members can bring, some parties can bring 30% in different constituencies. And those women would lose the elections because they might be contesting with men. And different parties can send different women in different constituencies. And they might all lose. They would have fulfilled the provisions by presenting the 30%. But that would not guarantee the member coming to parliament. Only this will guarantee, yes, it is not 30%, but it is 20-something%. At least the provisions of the protocols that we have ratified, we can start implementing them by giving at least a guaranteed 20-something, and then the rest, members like myself, can fight and come to parliament. Members like Fatmata Jawara, like Kadi Kamara. They can influence more women to contest amongst those 53, because be rest assured, with this going through and with the 14, if women see a lot of women sitting in this parliament, it will give them the courage to contest those extra seats. And yeah, like you mentioned, they are only temporary, specific measures. And this would ensure that it doesn't remain temporary forever. It will address it, and those temporary measures will be removed, and then we can proceed. And like you rightly mentioned, if the wrong is rectified, this can be expunged. It is only an amendment. Another amendment can be brought forward to remove it, because then the equity part could have been achieved. So there's no need to fight for something that you already have. We are not saying that there's no equality, but we are saying that we want equity. And yes, you mentioned to eradicate the inequity. And it must be driven in the right direction. And I think by changing this, we are going the right direction. If the implementation part is done properly, like some members have said, it shouldn't be, obviously it's politics. Politics can be partisan. But then again, our conscience, we must be guided by our conscience as women, if the women are elected, to make sure that they are not here for party, but they are here for the good of the nation, for the progress of the nation. Because when we thought of this bill, we did not think of it being partisan. We thought of it as closing the inequity gap, progressing our nation. And I think that will be done. And also the honorable member said, why are we asking for the 30% minimum? These are teething steps. We go bit by bit. We cannot be Oliver Twist and be asking for a lot more than we can chew. So let us go for the little that we can, and then the rest can be addressed through the 53 seats that are already in the Constitution. Nyanija, also about the commencement date. The commencement date, I think I have addressed. Based on the Constitution, it cannot come into effect less than 6 months after it has been done, because the elections is in less than 8 weeks. So obviously, considering the cost, considering the timing, it cannot be. And he also asked whether we consulted political parties. And yes, Madam Speaker, we consulted the political parties. We even consulted His Excellency the President, not as a president, but as a leader of a political party. We wrote to each of the political parties, and we were grateful that they all gave it their blessing. So be rest assured, your political party leaders were consulted and they gave it their blessing. So we are also counting on your blessing. Thank you, honorable members. Nyamina West, consultations again, and also he emphasized on equality. Yes, we never questioned, we never said there was no equality. There is equality, but then again, the equity part is what we are asking to rectify. Kiang Central emphasized, thank you for bringing our attention to our international obligations, especially the MDGs, which are now the SDGs, and also our elections and selections processes. We are not saying that any executive is selecting. Nobody, obviously, our political parties selected us, but it is the electorate that elected us. And it will be the same process again. In as much as your political party wants you, if the people there do not elect you, so it's not selection, it is election. Be rest assured of that. Jara West also asked whether we consulted the ministry, and I think we've been vindicated because the minister herself was seated. If she wasn't consulted, she wouldn't have given us the time of the day to come and attend. So like you have seen, she's been consulted. Technical advice, yes. We had the best, one of the best lawyers. Again, Jara West asked about the selection and the elections. Again, it's the same as the normal constituency elections. It's nothing new. There won't be no demarcations. We already have the 7 regions. Ilyasa also mentioned about consultation. And he mentioned also that we should consult religious leaders, if I had him right. We consulted all walks of life because this is representation. Representation shouldn't have any discrimination. So be rest assured. And when it comes to the implementation also, we will continue with our consultation. Fonyi Bintang also, thank you for supporting, and you also emphasized on the need of women to support women. We've heard you, and we'll also advocate for that when we go out. And Woodley East, you mentioned declare objection, the date on the title. You also mentioned the date on the title. The date I have already addressed. The date, because it was gazetted. The first gazette was in June. So we were hoping that June, July, August, September, 3 months, and then the additional 10 days, we were expecting it to be tabled in November. If it had passed November, December, January, February, March, April, if it had passed in September, it could have been effective in this election. So that can also be altered in the consideration stage. Thank you very much for bringing that to our attention. You also mentioned the Universal Declaration of Human Rights and also had your reservations, like most of my honorable colleagues, about the nominated members and your objections to nominated members. Again, as a member, I cannot take a right that somebody already has. If it was included to drop the 5 nominated members, we could have advocated. But our intention was to reduce it to 2. And if that is not approved, we cannot touch the 5 nominated members that are already there because we cannot use up somebody's right. We can change, but we cannot take everything. So if we have any issues, we will drop the 2 nominated members and go ahead with the 14 from 7 regions and the 2 from the physically challenged and make it 16 and let go the 2 nominated members. Nyamin Opa Nyomi, the need for further consultation, I think we cannot do any more consultation. This was taken, the concept was taken from the draft constitution. The draft constitution, we all know, there was thorough consultation. We also spent 6 months with this consultation, because if we have members from political parties, when we visited the political party leaders, we went with women from each of the 7 regions, and that there can be no further consultation than the 7 regions that we have. So that has been done, be rest assured. Honorable Member for Nyamina Dankunku, Minority Leader, thank you for supporting us from the start as well. And like you said, the provision of the Women Act cannot be implemented fully without it being provided for in the Constitution. And this is the only way it can be done, by passing this, and then we proceed and give the women the support that they need. Banjul South, thank you for emphasizing on systemic, Banjul North, thank you for making emphasis on systemic discrimination, and also the need to respect the human rights. Hence, you mentioned the form of protection that is needed. We thank you, because we all know that this is close to your heart. You are the chair of the Gender Committee, and I know that you would want to see this passed, but then done the right way, because we all know as lawmakers, we don't just want to haphazardly pass laws. You also mentioned the value added and the fact that it should not be tokenism. Obviously, we don't just want to warm seats. We want women of substance in this parliament. And I think even though we are only 6, it's not the number. We have added value. We have been felt in this National Assembly. And that is what we want. That is what we know. And that is what we will fight for in this assembly. You won't just see 14 women. You will see women of substance. And that is what we want. So be rest assured of that. Our nominated member, Samusa, also made emphasis on the participation of women and how women have always participated in, not only in politics, but in all walks of life, in all walks of, in everything in this country. He's a very experienced politician, like he always emphasizes, from the First Republic to what he calls the Third now. And Honorable Deputy Speaker, you also drew our attention to the many amendments of the previous administration. Honorable Deputy Speaker, this amendment is not just an amendment. It is a positive amendment, and it will advance not only the lives of women, like some of my honorable colleagues mentioned, it would advance the country, the region, and the world at large, because women shouldn't be left behind. If you leave women behind, you leave the development of the country behind. So I wouldn't just call it any amendment. We are wary of that. But then, like you said, it will be referred to ABC. ABC would refer it. But then again, let's wait for its committal. But I want to make emphasis that this is not my bill. This is our bill. It is a bill for this legislature. When we agree on things, it is collective. This is not an executive bill. Somebody mentioned, why did the executive not bring it? We should be proud of bringing this bill, especially when we only have few female in this assembly. We should be proud that, and we must push. We are in our last breath in this assembly. Once we say who, we are gone. Unless if some of us are lucky to come back, which I hope I will see most of us, many of us back, unless if we choose not to. But before we go, we must say that this was our goodbye to this legislature. Let us try every means possible to make sure that we do not pack our bags, we do not give our handing over without this being law in this country. I think we should boast that we have passed this law. It is not rushing, it is doing right. It is doing the right thing to society. And all Yundum supported the bill, but also made mention of the Women Amendment Bill. And like I keep saying, the Women Amendment Bill is there, but the Constitution supersedes. And without the support, like Honorable Member for Serekunda said, we cannot push that further to where we want it to go. And also, Honorable Member for All Yundu mentioned political parties to have women in their constituencies. Yes, we all have women in our constituencies, but they fight. The men fight with the women. That is what we are trying to reduce. We are trying to give them an opportunity until they are used to the field, because to be honest with you, it is not a level field for women. We tread, but we tread on a very dangerous ground. We have to fight with you, so we are saying, give us the power so that we can come. And if we are seen in our large numbers like the men see you here, that is how they had the courage to come. Because everywhere I turn, I see men. So obviously you have more courage. So if I have this whole side of women, it will give me more courage to come, because I will know I will not walk alone. Thank you. Latrikunda Sabiji wants to know about the modalities for us in these extra seats. The modalities is just the region. It's just like we choose the 53 constituencies. We are not going to introduce a new modality. Already IEC has their way of conducting elections in the 53 constituencies, and that is going to be repeated. The same modality is going to be used in the 7 regions. Whoever qualifies to be a member of that region, as per the qualifications to sit in this assembly, can contest, and they will represent the region. And again, the timing. The timing is dictated by the Constitution. And also mentioned why the legislature did not bring it. Our Constitution states bills can be brought by the executive, by a committee, or by a private member. So that has been accommodated for in our Constitution. Lower Badibu, again, Lower Badibu, there is no time limit. I agree with you. You did, that's a good observation you mentioned. Bills can be brought anytime. Upper Salum, again, you made emphasis on equity and its difference to equality. And thank you for making emphasis that our Constitution clearly states we are all equal, because obviously all human, even if the Constitution doesn't say it, a human cannot be more human than another. And also you did mention about the age, which I think we should look at, because you cannot be too old, you cannot be old enough to vote and then not be too old, and then not be old enough to be voted for. So that is a discussion for another day. Brikama North. You were concerned that you were concerned of the wards, many wards. In some countries, they have the Senate. The Senate has bigger mandate than a constituency. They have a number of constituencies under their watch. So let's say we are practicing towards going for a Senate. Let's just see it as that. We must see the positive in everything and give them the opportunity. Like you said, a woman will not go beyond their boundary. And also you made mention about nominated members. We can expunge the 2 nominated members, but unfortunately, since we did not request for the removal of the 5 nominated members, that is already in the Constitution. It cannot be accommodated in our bill, unfortunately. So already powers were invested for that. I requested for 2. We don't agree, we remove it. And I agree wholeheartedly for us to be able to proceed. You question the rationale behind the nominated members, but again, that is the law. If we do not agree with our laws, we have every right to change them. And if this August Assembly agrees to change them, then so be it. You also mentioned about the modalities of electing the members, whether it's partisan or otherwise. Our laws says you can contest through a political party or as an independent candidate. So again, it's the same thing that would apply to these members if they are nominated to contest for these 14 positions. And Central Body will also question about how to conduct the elections. Again, it's the same thing, and also whether it will be implementable in this April coming elections. Again, it's the same. The 6 months would not have been fulfilled because nominations have gone, and we only have 8 weeks to our election. Serekunda West asked how they are going to be represented. Serekunda West, I thank you for that, because as representatives ourselves, we represent wards. Our constituencies have different wards, and nobody asks us how we represent our wards. We represent them based on what the law says we represent them. I cannot go to Banjul North, Banjul Central. In as much as I'm close, we are close, we share boundaries, but my representation does not go beyond what the laws give me. So their representation will also be limited to the regions that they are given, and also to 2 members sharing the same office, just like I share with my 3 councillors. They know their boundaries. I control all 3 wards. They control 1 ward. So also you will control your constituency. They will control the whole region. It's the same principle. And also, you asked whether we would have a role in making laws. But that is I think that is our job. I didn't understand what you said, but you said, must we not do our work? You said, why did the executive not bring this bill? Must we sit? We are lawmakers. The Constitution gives us the right to amend, to bring bills, to make laws. Must we sit and wait for the executive to bring laws? I think we should be proud of ourselves to be able to bring laws. We've amended the Constitution here, and that was to our own benefit. Now we should be proud to open up, like Honorable Member for Latikunda Sabiji said, for Busumbala said, had it not been the demarcation of constituencies, he wouldn't have been here. So we should also be proud that we are opening the doors for more women to come. We shouldn't be the block of the forest. We should be the doors that open the forest for more light to come. Madam Speaker, I think I've answered all their concerns. If I have left anything, do remind me. But I'm appealing to honorable members to make sure that we proceed to the next stage. And if anything can be amended, we go to the consideration stage and amend it as we wish or as we think is best fitted for our country. Thank you very much, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. No, Honorable Member for Busumba, your issues have not been responded to.
It's just a clarification that I want her to.
Left out any issue that you raised in your intervention? Yes. Can you seek for clarification, please?
Thank you, Ma. Honorable Member, I want to be clear. On what basis are these people going to be elected? You give example of yourself coming with a political party ticket and now coming with, as independent. We want to be clear. Is it going to, their election going to be based on politics or political parties or on independent or how? That's the clarity I want.
Madam Speaker, can I just go one section, sir? Can I just go back to the Constitution? If you go to 89, oh no, hang on. National Assembly members, is it 88? If you go to section 88, members of the National Assembly. Members of the National Assembly, 1A, what we are adding, we are not changing how members are elected. We are only adding the numbers. 1A says 53, it states the old, 53 members elected from constituencies demarcated by Boundaries Commission and 5 members nominated. We are adding, on top of that, we are adding, if you go to section 88 of the Constitution is amended, we are adding 14 members, 2 elected from each administrative area. So this section does not specify how members are elected, but our laws clearly states that candidates can come from political parties or through independent candidature. So it is the same thing that would apply to this.
Thank you. Oliundu, yeah, okay. Woolley East.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I think the mover of the motion may have a misunderstanding of what I said when I deal with the nominated members. What I'm actually saying is that the trend our democracy should take is to do away with nominations. But I was not saying at this particular thing we remove those who are already here. I'm saying our trend should take that form. Yeah, thank you.
Yes, Labikunda Sabidi, please, I'm going to stop the question, seeking for clarification, because you had ample opportunity. Don't bring up new issues. Yes,
okay, Honorable Speaker, what I want to ask the mover of the motion is, he talks about the representation of those two. For instance, let's say KMC. You know, KMC is 7 constituency, and you have 2 people representing, 2 women representing KMC. How is that representation going to be? Are they going to represent the entire 7 constituency, or are you going to divide the 7 constituency into 2? That's what I want to know.
Well, I cannot respond to that. Opanyomi, the last one, please.
Yes, thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, for giving me the opportunity. Honorable Member for Banjul South. Honorable Member for Banjul South, the further consultation I was requesting you to do, it was in connection with the Constitution. That's Section 101.
That is not a clarification to your response.
No,
now, the second, no, just a second. The opportunity that you now have is in case she has not cleared or responded.
Yes, she has not clearly responded to my question.
No, but you are saying the first thing that you should have done.
Are you giving me an opportunity to ask for clarification or not?
No.
No. Thank you. Thank you, Madam Speaker, for being so generous to me. Yes. Honorable Member, I was asking you to make a further consultation in relation to Section 101, Subsection 4, where when these people come, when this bill is passed, it's going to incur a cost to consolidate the revenue fund. And which is true.
Sir? It's on my bill.
Madam Speaker, yeah, the honorable member is directing us to 101.4.2, right? If I'm right. But it says, okay, 101? 101.2. 1, 2, yeah. But Honorable Speaker, this bill is already being considered. This section states that if it hadn't complied, we wouldn't have been here in the first place. It is overtaken by events. It has passed that stage. It is at the discretion of the Speaker at that point, but the thing is, anything is at a cost. Even if you move, it will cost this assembly because you are tearing and wearing the carpets. So, thank you.
Thank you. Let's, can we proceed, honorable members? Thank you very much, honorable members, and honorable Banjul, member for Banjul South, for the response to the issues and for winding up the debate. Thank you very much. Now, honorable members, Section 2262B of the 1997 Constitution mandatorily requires a bill for an act of the National Assembly amending or altering the Constitution shall not be passed by the National Assembly or presented to the President for assent unless it is supported on the second and third emphasis mind readings by the votes of not less than 3/4 of all the members of the National Assembly. Honorable members, 3/4 of all National Assembly members is 42 members. Furthermore, Standing Order Clause 16 of Clause 15 states, and I quote, "In any instance where the Constitution requires a fixed majority to decide on a question, the Assembly shall not proceed to a vote on that question unless and until a number of members equivalent to the such fixed majority is present at the time of voting." Honorable members, I've decided to quote this relevant section, bearing in mind that some honorable members had made emphasis or request for the bill to be referred to the ABC. This is not an ordinary bill. It's a bill amending the Constitution, and we have to go through the laid down procedures for amending a Constitution. But in view of also the fact that it is a bill amending the Constitution, I will not proceed straight to the question, but let's allow the technical team to ring the bell to allow honorable members who just stepped out. I saw 1 or 2. Maybe we'll give them 4 minutes. Please, table office, can we? Yes. Let's ring the bell for 4 minutes to allow honorable members to come in, and then we confirm that we have the requisite number to take a vote. Thank you. Members, by my timing, the 4 minutes has expired. Yes. Thank you very much. Honorable members, may I request the table office to confirm the number of honorable members present in the chambers before I proceed to put the question. Please, table office, can you help with the counting so that we'll confirm the, no, not the honorable members. The table office will do it. Thank you. Can we, let's have some order so that, yeah. Honorable member for Busumbala, please, can we have some order? Let's allow them to do the counting. Honorable members, the table office has confirmed that the number of honorable members present in the chambers as of now is 35. 35 members present. And we all know, as I said earlier on, the threshold is 42 for the vote to be carried on. But I want to exercise my discretion to suspend the voting till Monday to allow honorable members to be present. But on Monday, we will have to proceed with the voting, whatever the number. Thank you. If it is less than 42, if it is more than 42, we'll take the vote. But procedurally, I think if it is less than 42, then we know what to do. Thank you. So, thank you very much. And on that note, I'll thank everybody. Thank you very much for your contributions. I think it has added value. Can we please, this session is still on. It has, your contributions have greatly added value, actually, to the debate. And I thank you very much, Honorable Member for Banjul South. Thank you also for the initiative, not forgetting our female colleagues who are here with us. And on that note, I'll put the question, be it resolved that this August Assembly do stand adjourned till Monday, the 21st of February, 2022 at 10 a.m. Those in favor, please say aye. Those not in favor, say no. The ayes have it. The Assembly now stands adjourned till Monday, the 21st of February, 2022 at 10 a.m. prompt. And I thank you all for your kind attention.